Well, my friends, I guess we are pulling the motor on the hatch. I'm starting to realize when I get something in my brain, I'll sit there and think about it for a while, and I always end up doing it. Kind of like the paint job on the STi. You know? It's like, I had the idea there, and then I thought about it, and then I did it. I got the idea to respray the bay on the STi, and then I kind of went back and forth, and then I realized I'm gonna sit here and think about it for the next week, or we can just go do it. So we're just gonna go do it real quick. Let's pull the motor real quick. Honestly, I'm really excited to pull a Subaru motor. It's been a minute. I don't know if I've ever pulled it on the lift. Not that it really changes much because it comes out the top, but still, it's gonna make life a little bit easier. The fastest I've ever pulled a Subaru motor from running to out of the car was like 45 minutes. That was on an NA car. I think it's the Subaru Outback. It's obviously gonna take a little bit longer on a turbo car, but still, pulling a Subaru motor versus a Evo motor, it's a little bit easier. So that is what we got going on today. We are pulling the motor on our hatch, which is kind of funny because we're not even done with the body yet. We still need to remake the front bumper pieces. We still need to respray the rear bumper. We still have to fix a few things up, do a full cut and buff on the car, get out all the runs, pull out some orange peel. I'm hoping we can get the full motor pulled today. I'm guessing we can. Earlier today was yesterday's video when we were working on Bobby's car, and then I had to go run a bunch of errands. So I feel like I'm getting a pretty late start. So we got a couple hours, so we should be all right. Let's pull out the two beautiful Evos and let's see if we can make the Subaru just a little bit faster. I'm not sure how fast we're gonna go or how much power we're gonna push, but it's gonna be quite a bit more than what it makes right now. There's nothing really wrong with this car, engine bay, engine wise. I know it does have a coolant leak coming from the radiator drain plug, which it might just be loose, but I don't really see any leaks that we need to take care of. I do already have a pretty thick turbo sitting here at the shop that we are going to install while the motor's out. Does it already have an up pipe on it? It's got some sort of up pipe on it, so we're good there. I'm not gonna do, this isn't gonna be a Bobby Wallace STi rotated turbo kit, insane $10,000+ engine build. This is gonna be a little bit, I wouldn't say cheaper, but definitely much more in budget because Bobby's car was so expensive to build. Not to mention her whole closed deck built head motor that we're building outside the car. That's an additional, like, I don't know, 5K, 6K that we're into it. So we are gonna be collaborating with Mr. Baderbilt. He's gonna be tuning this car. He's helped out with picking out parts for this car, and it's gonna be a fun little ripper. I'm not exactly sure if we're gonna go E85 or just stay on pump gas, or we could just do flex fuel. Not exactly sure the plan there. We do have a really nice fuel system, turbo, exhaust, intercooler, blah, blah, blah. List goes on and on and on. It's gonna be a really, really sick setup. And not to mention, Bader has been making the most insane power on stock motor STIs recently. So I'm excited to see what he can make out of this thing with the setup that we're gonna have. I'll discuss what we're doing engine-wise later on, but for now, let's just start tearing into this thing. I wanna get the motor out as fast as possible. I am gonna be very, very careful to make sure we don't mess up any stuff we just resprayed. So I'll probably, of course, gonna pull off the front bumper, probably pull off the front fenders, wide body fenders. I might pop the hood back off. It kind of sucks we just installed all that, but to scratch one of those panels would be so painful right now, and I definitely don't want to do that. While we're under here and the car's up in the air already, let's go drain out the oil. We're gonna pop out the coolant or the antifreeze, and that should be a pretty good start. All right, we got all the fluids drained out of this thing, just the engine and radiator. Let's get this thing on the ground and get all these panels pulled off that we need to save. No need to pull the hood. I'll just leave her on. Probably a little bit safer on the car versus floating around the shop anyway. All right, my friends, let's go ahead and start tearing some stuff apart. Airbox, whatever intercooler this is, definitely not 08 plus STi, 0205 WRX. I could be mistaken. Battery's gotta come out. We got some wiring. If you are used to doing Evos and you go ahead and jump into a Subaru, you will be so blown away at how easy wiring is on this thing. To pull the motor, we have alternator to unplug, same harness as the AC compressor. Sometimes there's an air pump, but everyone deletes them because they're pointless. And then over here we have one giant harness for the whole engine. And that's pretty much it. Starter, of course, O2 sensors. Other than that, not much. A little bit of oil inside that turb ski. Actually kind of a lot. It's a Subaru thing. Evo boys wouldn't understand. I'm gonna pop up front here. We have AC compressor, alternator, power steering. All that's gonna come off, AC and power steering. I'm probably gonna leave with the car just to make life a little bit easier. Actually, AC I'll leave with the car, power steering I'll pull off. Power steering is really easy to bleed. AC, not very fun. Also, is this supposed to spin? She don't spin very well. Next up is going to be the radiator. We got to pull off these very beautiful brackets, sponsored by ziptie.com. Nice tight bolt as well. Yeah, we could probably just cut those. Radiator hose, unplug the fans, radiator comes out. So all we really have left up top is the turbo to downpipe. So the turbo is going to come off with the engine. We're going to leave that bolted on to the up pipe. So the exhaust manifold, up pipe, turbo, that's all coming off when we pull the motor. So turbo to downpipe, there's 5 bolts there. We have this pitch stop, slave cylinder, the starter, that wiring plug-in, a few bell housing bolts. There is a pin that goes through the clutch fork we're gonna have to pull out and then get this thing up in the air, pull the downpipe completely. We have a front O2 sensor we gotta disconnect, and then bell housing underneath, and this thing should be ready to pull out. I just made myself a little Allen wrench. Let me explain what's going on here. That cap you guys see right there, you need to get that cap off, then the pin that goes through the clutch fork slides out. Problem is, I did not have a 14mm Allen wrench to get that cap off. So I took a bolt with a 14mm head and I welded a nut on the opposite end. Very, very sick welds if you can see. And I'm gonna put a wrench on that end and we're gonna take that cap off. Dang, this thing's hot. I tried using just vice grips and it kept just slipping on the vice grips. So let's hope this works. I should probably weld it a little bit better. It just broke the welds. All right, let's actually weld it this time. I don't know why the hell that cap is on there so tight. I have broken 2 bolts right in half. Here's bolt number 1 that we welded. Okay, sheared in half. This shit's really, really hot and I burnt myself really bad. Here's bolt number 2, sheared in half. How is that even possible? These are like 8mm or 10mm thread bolts. They're beefy. I'm gonna try one more time. And if I break it again, if I break another bolt, I'm gonna have to go find like an Allen socket. The third one is about to snap in half. Why the hell is that nut or that cap on there so tight? I'm gonna run to the parts store and see if I can find a 14mm Allen socket that we can put on a ratchet. $15 later, we got exactly what we needed. I don't know why it just didn't go in the first place. I think I was just being stubborn and I wanted to make my own tool. Let's go ahead and freaking get this motor pulled out of this car. Why is there so much water in this exhaust? I'm so confused. It's probably because we've been letting her sit for a minute. That's probably why. Sick your O2 sensor. Good thing we don't need it. As far as I'm aware, engine's ready to be pulled out. Everything's off. Like I said, it's been a minute since I did a Subi, but there ain't nothing to it. I'm gonna use a floor jack to hold the trans up when we pull the engine out. I don't want it to fall. We never pulled the cross member, but I don't like it dropping. And then we're gonna pull out the good old cherry picker and pick out this cherry. I think pulling the motor mounts off might help, just a little bit. I'm betting that's gonna be the thickest engine pulling POV that I've ever seen. That was fun. I'm a little bit rusty on pulling a Subi motor. I forgot the fuel lines And I forgot the motor mounts, and I also forgot that little brake booster hose, I guess you'd call it. But she's out. Clutch is a little bit rusty looking. Broken off bolt. Yeah, that is a broken off bolt. I don't know why I pulled it out so crooked, but it is what it is. Here she is. Let's pull off our clutch and flywheel, and we can get this thing chilling on the engine stand. I need to make a phone call. Something's weird with this freaking motor. This might be a 2-liter motor. Let me call somebody. The Subaru God himself.
Maybe you should buy more STIs, because that's when I hear from you the most.
What the hell is going on with this motor? What is a Z20 head?
What the fuck?
Is that some JDM ass shit or what? It's dual AVCS.
Z20?
Yeah.
Look at the fucking block code. What is it? Is it EJ20?
It's a EJ ground off the rest.
It's an EJ20.
But why? What's a dual? They're dual AVCS heads, and they say Z20, which I've never heard of. And I know you've heard of them.
It's gotta be a 2-liter.
Well, how is a 2-liter dual AVCS?
Because JDM STI.
So it's a 207?
That's what it seems like.
Is that fun?
I mean, their factory should be able to rev out to 8K.
That sounds fun.
They have forged pistons from the factory, supposedly.
Are you still gonna send it to the moon?
You know it.
Okay, so should I
Let
throw
me
it?
try to find that code. That's weird that it's ground off on the block.
I just noticed that. I don't know why I didn't look at it when I bought the damn car.
They ground it off because I guarantee it's a 2-liter.
I'm betting it is.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. But yeah, I got the motor chilling on the crane right now, and back of the head, Z20, which I'm like, what the fuck is this?
That's all it's on there. It's just a Z20.
It's got, yeah, it must be a 207.
I mean, you scored on that.
Have you ever tuned a 207?
No, I haven't, but I've had, a friend of mine had one, and it's pretty good.
Well, you're about to tune one now.
Yeah, we'll fucking make all the power of it. I mean, the good thing about it is that you're putting a smaller turbo on it. Otherwise, you might have troubles with just trying to spool turbos or anything. That's why we usually don't use them.
Should I do anything to this motor, or should I just leave her untouched?
I mean, it's probably, if it's a JDM motor, it's probably lower miles, but you shouldn't have to do it. I imagine that the motor probably has anywhere from 30 to 60K.
Yeah, all right, well, I'll check the timing belt, and other than that, let's just send her to the moon.
Okay, you're doing a clutch?
I haven't pulled the clutch off yet. I'll check it out and see how fucked up it is.
Okay.
But, hell yeah, well, cool. I guess it's not bad news. It's not good news.
No, terrible news. 2-liters are usually gay because they don't have a lot of low end.
Yeah, I don't need low end. I'll be revving at 8K all day anyway.
Exactly.
Fine. All right, brother. Well, appreciate it.
No problem.
Later.
Take a look. Send me a picture of that code.
All right, I will. But I don't know if this is good news or if it's bad news. Either way, I guess we don't really care. I just talked to Mr. Bader. This is a 2-liter motor. We're like 99% sure. It's probably an EJ207. The code on the head is Z20. They're dual AVCS. And then I don't know why I didn't check the code on the block. It usually says EJ20 or EJ25 or EJ22, whatever it is. This says EJ nothing, EJ ground off. Very interesting. Kind of cool. Bader seemed to not be disappointed. I'm not a huge Subaru person. I do know the EJ207s are a pretty badass motor. EJ205, I would probably throw it in the garbage and go buy EJ257. But if it's a true EJ207, it's gonna be pretty fun. So here's the code on the head, Z20, which I haven't really done much research yet. I just called Bader because I figured he'd know right off the top of his head. I'm not sure what turbo this is. It'll be interesting to pull that off and figure out what it is. And then here's the most sus part. That should say EJ something, and it's EJ nothing. It does not look like a VF39 if you're asking me. It's hard to see. Really, really hard to see the stamping on it until you have the turbo off. But either way, it doesn't matter because we're not going to be running this turbo. I need to go ahead and pull this clutch off, see how nice or poopy it is, and probably replace it with like a XTi, just a single disc. Yeah, left hand Z20, that's so weird. Comment below if you know what a Z20 head is all about. Solenoid 1, solenoid 2. Very interesting. Well guys, I think I might wrap it up right here. We got her on the stand. Bay is all torn down. We are respraying the bay. I do have a few different choices and colors in mind. Not 100% certain yet, but we might as well, right? While the engine's out, make it perfect. Should be easy enough. Thankfully, this bay is actually in really good shape, like paint-wise. No rust, no anything crazy like that, like we had on the Blue 8 when we resprayed that bay. So just a quick scuff, some epoxy primer, lay down some base and clear. We should be good to go. Probably a day or maybe a day or two project. I don't think it's gonna be all that bad at all. There's not much surface area. I gotta clean up the shop. We got the clutch off. I don't know, this looks like a stock, probably a stock replacement. It's an XTi. I'm gonna just look up the part number probably on it real quick. There's a part number there, but you can see how much life is left. It looks like they literally just put it in. I'm not sure how much power this clutch will hold, so if we gotta pick up something else to hold some sort of sauce, not a big deal, but if we can run this, even better. I just Googled the part number on the disc. Genuine Subaru clutch disc is what it says. Would it hold the power? Most likely. I don't know for how long. Bobby's clutch started slipping around 540, 550 wheel. So I'm not sure if this thing would be able to handle the sauce for very long. So I should probably go ahead and pick up something else for it. That's gonna be our wrap for today, my friends. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you know anything about this EJ 2-liter something or another we got going on, drop a comment below. Feel free to DM me on Instagram. If this thing's gonna blow up the second we put any sort of power at it, I don't want to put power at it. I'm guessing it's a 207. If you know any different, comment below. Peace out, my friends. I'll see you guys tomorrow.